It wasn't loud. That was what made it worse. He stood when the room had already settled, glass half raised, said my name the way he did when lawyers were present, careful, trimmed of affection. He congratulated us. He wished us clarity. Then he added, almost as an aside, that I should understand I was choosing a life without inheritance, without a trust fund, without expectation. He smiled like it was a kindness to be precise. There was a ripple of discomfort. Some people looked at me. Some pretended not to. My husband, then newly my husband, didn't flinch. He squeezed my hand once and said, quietly enough that only the table heard, "We don't need it." I wanted to believe that sentence could carry us. The weeks after felt less like falling and more like being gently set down somewhere unfamiliar. My accounts changed status. Phone stopped ringing with certain numbers. Invitations evaporated without explanation. No one was cruel about it. Didn't have to be. Access had always been the language of my family, and now the conversation was simply over. We moved into a place with thin walls and a view of a parking lot. I learned how long groceries lasted when you paid attention. Learned how many versions of myself I'd outsourced to money without realizing it. Some nights I lay awake wondering if love was supposed to feel this exposed. My husband never offered reassurance in speeches. He made coffee every morning. He folded laundry with methodical care. He left early, came back late, answered questions about work in the broadest possible strokes. Consulting, he'd say. Or project-based. There were non-disclosure agreements. There were calls he took outside. I didn't push. Told myself trust meant not asking. If I'm honest, was afraid the answer would make me feel foolish for having believed we didn't need anything else. 6 months after the wedding, my mother's assistant emailed me about a foundation visit. It was framed as routine, impersonal, almost bureaucratic. My name was listed the way a former address might be, still relevant, but no longer central. I debated not going. In the end, went because avoiding them still felt like orbiting them. The building was glass and stone, designed to signal seriousness. Parents were already there, speaking to a small cluster of people who deferred to them instinctively. They hadn't acknowledged me yet. Too was a language. We were ushered into a conference room. Introductions began. Titles were recited. My husband's name came up. The facilitator paused, checked her notes again, then stood a little straighter. "Oh," she said, "you're early." She turned to the room. For context, this partnership review will be led by him. The shift wasn't dramatic, no gasps. Just chairs angling slightly, pens coming out, attention recalibrating. A senior official from the regulatory body entered, greeted my husband by name, and asked if he preferred to start with risk or compliance. My father froze, not visibly, not theatrically. He simply stopped moving forward. The momentum he'd been accustomed to meeting him halfway didn't arrive. I watched my husband as he spoke. He was calm, precise. He didn't look at my parents any more than protocol required. Outlined concerns, timelines, constraints. He did not explain himself. He didn't need to. At one point, my father attempted to redirect the conversation. The official smiled politely and said, "We'll address that after we hear his assessment." That was the moment. Not power claimed, but power recognized elsewhere. When the meeting ended, there were handshakes. There was professional warmth. My parents nodded to me, uncertain now how to place me. Father said my husband's name like it was new information he was still sorting. In the elevator down, no one spoke. The doors closed. Felt something settle, not triumph, not vindication. Relief, maybe. Or clarity, That night, at home, I told my husband I'd been scared. I'd wondered if choosing him meant choosing fragility. He listened. Then he said, "Never wanted you to trade one kind of dependence for another." I understood then that the smile at our wedding hadn't been defiance, had been confidence, quiet and unadvertised. My parents and I still speak, carefully. There's no apology. There's no reconciliation montage. Just adjusted expectations and a distance that feels earned on both sides. Sometimes I miss the ease of inherited certainty, but I don't miss the silence that came with it. The way love used to arrive pre-approved. I chose my life. That doesn't make it simple. It makes it mine.